Hi, welcome back. I am Darcy Darkness and welcome to Confessions from the Dark Side. And today we are going to be talking about a subject within the horror series Religion and Horror. And this is episode 3, which is about cults. And before we start, I am going to hit you with a disclaimer because it would not be Confessions from the Dark Side if we did not. Because we always talk about subjects in a way that may offend or piss people off, or both. So let's get the disclaimer out the way, shall we? I am full of so much adult content that some may think it is unnecessary, and some of you may think that this is needed. If you are one of those people, then thank you for checking us out, but I will say this only once. If you can't stand the heat, then get the fuck out of my kitchen. Now, for everyone else who likes what we have here, then regular scheduled programming will continue. Shall we get started? Are we ready? So, this is another installment from our series, Religion and Horror. To give this subgenre and slash topic its proper glory, we decided to break down each and every topic within this genre and give it an episode to properly discuss and break down all that is involved, as it is such a large topic and has so many layers and levels that make it up. Sometimes they do overlap and sometimes they don't. We wanted to give them each their very own episode so we could do a deep delve discussion and breakdown for you. So, cults. Why cults? So, what is the definition of a cult and their followers? First of all, a religious group or sect that are not only following the same beliefs, but they tend to immerse themselves into everything. So, they're completely involved physically and mentally within the organisation, and this becomes their own thing. They become obsessed over and very protective over, and they will leave everything they know for these weird strangers that have given them what is missing in their everyday life and how they need them and cannot survive without them again. They prey on people who have suffered a loss or maybe some or loneliness, or maybe if they're an outcast, etc. They play on their weaknesses, which are your strengths in my honesty. A lot of people see the things that may be a weakness as a strength. I do, because again, you can overcome your weaknesses as they're called and become stronger. But a cult does the exact opposite. They look for that missing chink in the armor. They're looking for something that stands out that they can manipulate you and get you to do whatever the fuck they want. Now, that is not a good thing. It definitely isn't. It's basically the point of brainwashing. They are so low that this is used as an easy access to the person, and again, it becomes very manipulative and controlling to the point where they leave their life out with the organisation to become a full time controlled human, being like a drone part of the hive. Let's not forget that it's all about sex, group sex, and drugs to keep everyone happy. What am I missing? Anything? What cults are still around today? Because there are still many cults that are about, and yes, they might still come under a religion, but we will go through them. I did a lot of research into these cults, and I'm pausing because it took me 3 months just to go through the cults that are about today and how they started and getting a better understanding of all the different cults and religions that have been created and become cults. It's taken that length of time to actually kind of decompress after that shit. It wasn't fun. I love research, as you know, but watching the amount of content and reading up and research on this subject alone, I had to do it. I had to do it in stages. Put it that way. It was a very, very tough subject. Sorry, there is the Church of Latter-day Saints, which is Mormons, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, which is Jehovah's Witness, the Church of Scientology. Yes, yes, that was the scariest one of them all, I think. Superior Universal Alignment, the Family International, the NX, that weird one that the girl from Smallville was in, the Nixium or whatever cult, the 12 tribes, Love Has Won. See, that doesn't sound very bad, does it? But obviously it is. Angels Landing, Family International, also known as the Children of God, the People's Temple, which was Jim Jones. We all know how that turned out. Metamoris, Human Sacrifice Cult, Order of the Solar Temple, Branch Davidians, Russian Doomsday Cult, the Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments God, and the Kidwelly Sex Cult, which was in Wales, which was the Church of the Kidwelly Sex Cult. Okay. Some of these have good names, some of them do not. Some of them stand for maybe something that was supposed to be positive, or I have no idea. Were they always supposed to be cults? That's the thing. It's very, very weird. So cult leaders seem to be male, with a larger percentage being 90%, which again, with the type of traits that make you a cult leader, gives me incel vibes here, which again, the way the world is with the internet and social media, this is a prime example of why the internet and social media has a lot of good aspects, but there is a dark, a very ugly side, and that something so simple can end up so out of control so quickly and become very serious. Oh no, by the way, women are not all that innocent either. They come in at around a whopping 70% of cults are led by females. So we're just as bad. Most likely our reasons and examples for creating a cult will be a wee bit different due to the way our brains are different and how we work is different. And I think women can be more evil and sadistic when it comes to this type of subject. And depending on what has happened of us to reach this stage in our lives, to go down this route, we can be a simple, which could be a simple self-help community with a little bit of fun time, to something dark and sinister where they target a group of individuals, etc. All cults seem to have an outcome and a set of objectives that have to be met to achieve these successfully, and what to make this as a success by manipulating and brainwashing your followers to do your bidding while you watch like the puppet master you are. Cult leaders that you may have heard of, either through the crimes that they have committed, or again, crimes that they've committed and also been put in the big screen, heinous crimes at that they have created and have created casualties, and basically just some of the people who have been manipulated to the point where they've lost everything, including like their savings and their property and everything, assets and stuff. You find out about them. Again, YouTube has so many true crime type of channels that go into all these type of cult leaders. I'm going to go with a nice easy one. Charles Manson. Yes, he was a cult leader. He didn't physically kill anybody, but he did sway his followers. He gave them like a false sense of love and security. He filled them with tons amount of drugs and alcohol, and he actually read a lot of things about Scientology when he was in prison. Even though the Church of Scientology wanted nothing to do with Charles Manson, yeah, that's where you draw the line. Okay. So Charles Manson again went to jail for basically, he was more like he was involved but he didn't do it basically. He still had an objective and he got other people to do his bidding. Jim Jones, again, another one, Doomsday Cult. And everybody knows about Jim Jones. Even Skin did a song about him. Oh, I couldn't do the cult leaders without doing the creator of said religion and who is in charge now. We have L. Ron Hubbard, who was the creator. He was a writer, science fiction writer, who wrote a book and created Scientology. He didn't even follow his own rules and regulations of his religion, by the way, but he expected others to do it. That's some really good brainwashing there. So it's like, don't do as I do as I say shit. And who's in charge now? David Miscavige. That guy looks like fucking evil incarnate. That guy just oozes there's something not right. He's a few sandwiches short of a picnic. There's something. He needs to just go. That guy's fucked up. So much shit, so much fucking drama with Scientology, and it again. I could be here all day if you want to actually find out even more things, experiences, and who is growing up in Scientology over on YouTube and also growing up in a cult. They both, all of them do lots of because they were members of the Church of Scientology and they now help and support people coming out of Scientology. So there's also Kellycopter as well. She's from the UK and her story is over on her YouTube channel too. So if you want to go check them out, that's Kellycopter. Grown up in Scientology. Sorry, like Scientology, Life After a Cult. They cover so many different aspects of Scientology that you might not actually be aware of what actually happens being a member of becoming a member and what they actually do. And like I said, I can go off on a tangent about fucking Scientology. So I can. So that's why it's probably best to like just stop it there. Okay, Heaven's Gate, Rajneesh Puram, which is the mystic. Danielle Perez, Marshall Applewhite, and Bonnie Nettles, who are Bo and Peep of Heaven's Gate, by the way, and Colin Batley. Have cults ever been for good? Maybe the good of the creator, but nothing much else. This is a way of controlling and manipulating people into thinking you are their higher power. And again, look at the prolific cult leaders we know about, none of which look the same, but they have the same sort of personality and are not doing this for the good of the people, but for self-gain. So it's never actually ever good. Are all religions cults? Well, to an extent, yes. They all start in a way that religious cults and zealots start spreading the word of a new way, a new religion, new beliefs, creating hype and creating a community. This time, and take money and it takes a lot of patience, similarly to how most Christian religions started off, taking other religions' holidays, for example, like what they do with paganism. They pick and choose what celebrations to take so they can connect with their potential followers, like Christmas, Easter, Halloween, Valentine's Day, etc. Things that have been discussed in other podcasts, which you can go check out on Buzzsprout YouTube, but Spotify after this one, of course. So what are the warning signs that say, holy shit, that's a cult and don't fucking go there? Authority without accountability. Oh, how narcissistic. Zero tolerance for criticism or questions. Hello, Catholicism. Unreasonable fears about the outside world. The fear of being cast out if you do not follow what they want you to do. Torture and manipulation. Brainwashing you into thinking people who leave are weak and evil, and they aren't. They weren't chosen. Hello, Scientology. Abusing their members, again, that's another Scientology. Making the followers feel they are never good enough so that they will push and test themselves by trying to better people so that they are enough, but it's never enough. It's abuse in itself that they're never going to be enough. Again, this is kind of turning out as a Scientology bash. Wasn't meaning to be a Scientology bash, but that's probably one of the biggest cult ways, whatever the fuck they want to call it. It's a fucking cult. And hearing some of the stories of people who have grown up in it and knew nothing different, and people who have gone into it later on in life and still don't understand how the fuck they managed to get to where they were, and how difficult it is to leave, and what they do to try and actually either get you back if they are successful. They punish you for coming back even though you've left, but the punishment has no time. It's just whenever the fuck they want to stop punishing you, which might never happen ever. So the control is always there, but once you break away and you don't go back, they try and destroy you in the outside world in every possible way they can. And again, if you go into Aaron's growing up in Scientology, you'll see some of the extents that they actually did to his family and to him when he broke away from Scientology and was trying to actually make it on his own. The leader of the cult is the law. They are always right. And what they say is the word you live by. If not, then you're going to get fucking punished. And not nice punishment. It can, whatever the fuck they want, the sadistic pricks that they are. When you have to give up everything you knew to join them, including family, friends, your job, even handling over all your assets to the cult before you become a member. And again, that's not just a Scientology thing. That's, again, other religions are like that also. Cults. Keeping your followers under surveillance, especially if you think they may leave. Because especially depending on what you actually provide to the cult, you could be like one of the richer, more affluent members, and they don't want to lose that gravy train. No. What does it take to become a cult leader, and do you have any of these qualities? Let's discuss, shall we? So, charismatic, yet they are underdogs in their own story, aren't they always? Expects obedience, master, slave, god, minion, projecting dominance. Well, I probably just hit that one right there. Authoritarian, delusional, few sandwiches short of a picnic. Exploitative, narcissistic, false powers like a higher being, supernatural being, like you having power. You're like a being to them, basically. You're like the all powerful. Sounds legit, right? Sociopathic, arrogant, coercive, and intimidating, visionary, and persuasive. Why a cult leader? The leader of sex, power, and exploitation is what attracts you. Cult creators and leaders to be the nominal douche. When do you draw the line and then cross it into this type of work? Because this is a career, a church, a following that tends to milk its community for everything they own, including sometimes their own lives. What makes you think crossing that line into Cuckooville is a good idea? Is this the dream for some? You really need to see someone save yourself and everyone else who may fall down your rabbit hole in the future under your power. Please just don't. Cult leaders seem to have an agenda. They use their charismatic nature to lull you into a false sense of warmth, kindness, and love. They tell you what you want to hear to sway you to become reliant on what they do for you. They'll insert themselves into your life by simple control and brainwashing. So when anything goes wrong, you will turn to them, and that's when they know that they got you, and that is it. Then this happens over and over until we got a cult, people. Leaving the cult. Well, depending on the cult size and the control of the hive/cult can decide the fate of you leaving, whether you get out by fluke or planning, or you may be liberated by someone on the outside, or you are sent away to be punished and more torture for leaving, and this is all your fault. You are not a true believer because the control and the thought of freedom, well, the cult can't have you leaving to realise you ruined your life and been lied to. They can either keep you and make you pay, or they will leave you in the not good way and sometimes in a mass way, which is like Jim Jones type going on about. Life after the cult. Well done. What did we learn now? Go out and stop more people falling into similar situations and spread the word through experience and try and take them down the only way we can, through our words, our experiences, and through persistence. Be free and go enjoy your life as you should. Always be aware, stay focused, and watch out. The cults are about. And I mean that because there's so many things that can actually be classed as a cult. Even social media could technically be classed as a cult, and the media itself. So I have a wee question, or a couple of questions here. It goes, what cults and or cultage events do you think should be brought to horror? Do you think that we have enough content, or do you think you need to go back to the drawing board and maybe do a dive into some of the previous chaos and cults that there have? Maybe we could just not even create another one. It was like what not to do in a cult, like, you know, that kind of thing, like the things to do, the things not to do, the things that if you start something positive, what makes it a cult? Why are you not a cult type thing? Like something ripping the piss would actually, in my honesty, would be hilarious to do, especially with everything that's going on right now. We need something light-hearted, but you could also show the dark side, and we talked about dark comedy and spoofs and things before, I think it was last week's podcast, and that's pretty much what we need, I think. It would be nice to do like a kind of, not piss take, but a very dark side of cults, but with a light-hearted way, if you know what I mean. Do we feel that cults have been portrayed accurately in horror? Now, there's only a couple of films that I actually do think that hit the nail on the head. Rosemary's Baby, for one, and in the 70s, there was a lot of cults, not the same way as they are now, but for different reasons in the 70s. And the way Rosemary's Baby shows how they come into your life and they manage to get into personal parts of your life type thing. They know everything about you, you're being watched. That's very real compared to some of the bullshit that they try and put in cult horror movies. Horror movies about cults. And not to be messed up with a cult favourite classic. So Rosemary's Baby for me does that. The same with The Wicker Man as well. And Midsummer, there's a purpose in what they're doing. And they believe that their way and their beliefs and their community and what they're doing is actually for the greater good. And that's the way The Wicker Man and Midsummer is, with the way their traditions and things like that. They have the same kind of traditional celebrations, stuff that they do that's like sacrificial to their beliefs and everything like that. That's accurate in a way. And I'm not sure if some some cults, I keep saying religion, some cults may have actually taken their building blocks, maybe, is probably the best way to do it, from things like Rosemary's Baby and The Wicker Man and Midsummer type thing. So there is some films who have portrayed it accurately, but there is some who have not. But again, those ones are the ones usually that they're trying to make things more shock worthy rather than about the actual cult itself. How did they get to this? Would seeing into the past of a cult leader and its followers be of interest to show the person who they were before, how they came to be, and the telltale signs that would flag that this person of the event may have or has triggered them onto the path that they have gone on to live? Do you you think being able to, if that was ever possible for you to actually see the past, if you were like going down a crazy ass road, people are worried about you, and they showed you like one of those like kind of information, educational fucking videos that used to show you in school, would that help? I'm not entirely sure if it would, but again, that could be added to a movie, what not to do and how not to start a cult and how not to become a absolutely chronic douche. But hey, so in the religious horror genre, what do we want to see brought in the next cult horror movie? I think what I just said, that kind of, I think it'd be good if they actually did show how the cult started. Like, did it actually have positive beginning? Was it always to manipulate and control people and create fear, or was it supposed to be for good? Was it supposed to be like a supportive community for like self-help or self-love or whatever? Or was it supposed to be like community of people coming together, people sharing their experiences, and then they just like something went awry? Who knows? If we showed that and then showed like, this is what it became, or you don't want to become this, or how to become a successful cult leader, or how not to do a cult or something. Cult and how to be who knows what the title would be, but you know what I mean? It's like cult, how not to become, or how to be a better cult leader. Who knows? So movies that are infamous for using cults and cultish behaviour as their genres, as I just said, Rosemary's Baby, where basically a couple are trying for a baby, they move into this like really kind of nice set of apartments basically in Paris, and then these weird, not saying that people are helpful or weird, but there's red flags all over the shop. They're just like walking red flags the minute they actually show any interest in this couple. It's like they're listening to everything and just trying to insert themselves into parts of their life where, hold on, this is a wee bit creepy. The Omen as well was all about the rise of the Antichrist, protecting the next Antichrist, who was Damien, and everybody in their power, basically, who believed in Damien being the second coming, basically, did everything to protect him at all costs. So that shows you the collective, as I'm kind of very Borg-like, of how they actually communicate and how they will literally put their own lives in front of what they think is important. And that's how cults work, that you don't even become a second-class citizen to yourself. You're like maybe a 10th class citizen. It's like the leader and the beliefs in the church, and you're way down that line, so they don't get care. They will put themselves in harm's way if it will protect their beliefs, their church, which is fucking mental at the end of the day. And that's what the Omen is very like. And then you've got Eyes Wide Shut, which has Tom Cruise himself in it with his then wife Nicole Kidman, and that was very mysterious, kind of pulling the curtain back. I don't think it was necessarily supposed to be about Scientology, but it was about cults in general and that sort of world of the rich and how they lived their lives, kind of thing. Not necessarily all the crazy masks and sex cults and stuff. Not saying that that doesn't happen. It sounds incredibly fun, doesn't it? But it was like murder, mystery, and just this weird control. And it was like Tom Cruise's character was like looking in, like the lurker that he is. He was looking in, and you could see he was like, do I want to go down this route? Do I not? Do I stick my toe in? Do I not? And then it was like the story's all fucked up because again Stanley Kubrick died in the making of that film as well. So the ending to that film really upset me. Let's fuck, and then the film ends. It's just like I don't want to see them having sex. My fuck. So the story was like kind of all over the place, but it was still in Kubrick fashion. It made you think, and it made you think of maybe a story that you've heard about a cult or an organization and the mysterious and the evil and the darkness behind it. So we already have that thought when we've seen Eyes Wide Shut, and things like this do go on, and they try and say it doesn't now, but it does. That's what I took from Eyes Wide Shut, and I really, really like that film. Not a huge Tom Cruise fan, as people know, but that was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. We've got Children of the Corn, and again, Children of the Corn was a bunch of kids. I still don't understand why it still gets like a cult type. I get it, the way the kids are literally, they're not independently thinking. It's a collective again where they're all thinking. They all worship the corn and all that carry on. Again, Stephen King, it was a short story of his, and it starts off with basically a couple who breaks down in an isolated town. Then they find out it's only inhabited by children basically. They've murdered all the adults in town and now worship the evil deity known as He Who Walks Behind the Rose. So basically, children taking on children, taking down, well, who they think is most likely causing them not to be able to be successful, or their beliefs, the deity, basically, Who Walks Behind the Rose can't do what they're doing with having the parents there or any adults stopping them doing what they're doing. And again, but the first one's the best one. The sequels, well, we all know how we feel about sequels, and that just takes the cake, that movie. So basically a cult that's run by children. It's crazy that all those kids took out all those parents and adults. Seriously, did not one of those parents have any sort of balls, metaphorical or actual balls, to actually tell a child to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up? And you know, like, if you don't, you're going to be punished, or you don't, you're going to get sent away to somewhere like some correctional facility if you just don't behave yourself. Like, if you're a bad child, like the children in the corn, they maybe need someone to not just give them therapy, but they need a whole huge hardwired reset for the shit that they cause. The Wicker Man, like I said, is one of like the most common ones when people are talking about cults, whereas I think Rosemary's Baby is worse. Christopher Lee, again, he plays Lord Summerisle. He's the leader of the cult. He uses human sacrifice to bring prosperity to their isolated island community. And again, isolated. This is exactly what they do. They isolate you from everything you know your entire life, the people, the places. They take you away from that. So it will make it incredibly hard for you to fucking leave. Apparently this film failed at box office, but when it was re-released, obviously it revamped everything for The Wicker Man. But again, Christopher Lee played an awesome cult leader, but he played awesome roles no matter what, and he was believable. That's the thing. He was a believable cult leader even though he was playing a character. I can understand why it's number one because of when it was out. But Martyrs, The Invitation, seen The Invitation recently. Again, I thought I had never seen it. If you haven't seen it, it just looks like a simple, weird movie, basically, but then you start to realize that it's a wee bit dark and a wee bit sinister, but we're talking about cults here. It wasn't going to be all sunshines and fucking rainbows. It has shown you a different aspect or a different viewpoint, basically, of cults. Like I said, where they always start off as a good thing, or they do kind of start as like self-help, or, you know, they kind of prey on the fact that you need something from them and they'll provide it for you. And then it looks like you've created a new friend, and people wonder why I don't want to socialize when this is the kind of shit that can prey on people. Do you know what I mean? It's another way of, again, it was out in 2015, so therefore it's just showing you the way the modern day cult is. I think you've got Baskin, you also have Void. From the Void, the cult kind of remind me of, well, a kind of cosmic horror crossed with the KKK, just because of how they look. And again, in an isolated place, which was a hospital, and it's, like I said, very cosmic cultish, very Lovecraftian. I've noticed there's a lot of Lovecraftian aspects in a lot of the kind of more cosmic sci-fi type horror culty movies and religion and stuff. I've noticed that's definitely out there and not out here, it's out there. We have The Endless, The Ritual, Mandy, which I've spoke about that plenty. Mandy is Nicolas Cage, and the cult is called Children of the New Dawn. It's kind of like Manson-y type cult. Again, love, drugs, alcohol. It just looks like they're having some fun, yet they summon basically people. And they also kidnap people, which is very similar to Charles Manson, but it's like a cult that basically destroys a family, as it does, because cults do destroy loving family, and I think it's the loving families they seem to pick the most to fuck with, because they want to break that bond. It's like, yay, tick for us, managed to screw up another family. So we have again Hereditary, that was a weird way of grief and cultish type behavior. Apostle, Midsummer, again, talk about that all the time. Abducting basically people who come to a small village basically in Europe, and they have to basically have some sort of offering. And again, that's it's again very old school cult like, but with a today's twist type thing. The Empty Man, The Black Hat as well, because it's actually a psychological thriller. the first ever psychological horror, actually. The Black Cat actually is. You've got City of the Dead, Manos, The Hand of Fate, The Devil Rides Out, The Devils, All Colours of the Dark, The Devil's Reign. Are we getting some sort of pattern here? Yes, they're all cults, but what do they got in common? Devil. Why always the devil? Why always fucking Lucifer? Is beyond me. The Devil, a Daughter, Race with the Devil, The Devil's Reign, Suspiria. Suspiria was a remake of an old movie. It's like oddly obscure art, but it's again another thinker movie more than anything else. But once it's in there, you're fucked. That's all I can say about that. Ticket to Heaven, Split Image, The Believers, Lord of Illusion, Holy Smoke. The Ninth Gate, again, it's an amazing Johnny Depp film. He's doing research and he comes across an androgynous type of person who seems to just be everywhere. They're showing him what he believes is wrong and basically kind of trying to show you the real purpose of things in the Ninth Gate. I absolutely love that movie, and it's one of those ones that when people say they're a Johnny Depp fan, I'll turn around and go, have you seen the Ninth Gate? And they're like, no, and I'm like, are you fucking joking me? So it's such a good movie, and there's Johnny's like the most famous guy in it. And there's lots of other people all over, like Hollywood, etc., and even some British people. So if you aren't aware, it's basically hired by zealous occult scholar Boris Balkan to verify the authenticity of his most prized possession. Unscrupulous New York City rare book dealer Dean Corso is unaware that his life is in grave danger, because whether he likes it or not, forces beyond comprehension have already chosen him, and right from the start, thick, mysterious shrouds and diligent book detectives' peril-laden mission. Now in the soul-condemning quest for clues, there is no turning back from afar. A cryptic woman with a penetrating, gaze follows Corso's every step. This is the androgynous woman. They keep saying a cryptic woman. She's very androgynous, very similar to what Lucifer is described as. Of the diabolical leather-bound office unfold. The unfathomed secrets only will receive the key to dark enlightenment. However, the question remains, who is worthy of the tomb's glorious black gifts and the ultimate truth of the ninth gates of the kingdom of shadows? Every book has a life of its own. It's an amazing movie. You've got The Village, Silent Hill. Again, Silent Hill is a movie is a game that is actually based on another movie that I'm going to talk about in my next podcast that I'm doing straight after this one. But Silent Hill is a very, very creepy movie. The games are very, very creepy as well. Everybody remembers the siren. You know when you hear it that shit's about to happen. End of the Line, House the Devil, Cabin in the Woods, Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. That is a whole load of M's there. Kill List, Red State, again, that's what's that fucker's name again? Kevin Smith. Again, haven't seen it. I saw a few clips, and again, it's showing you how crazy and controlling from the trailers I've seen, that it's showing you the crazy, controlling, manipulative part in a couple-minute trailer, just to actually kind of make you assertive that this is what you're going to see. The Sound of My Voice, Paranormal Activity 3, The Master, Holy Ghost People, VHS 2. Now, there's a still from that movie that is like a partially naked individual who looks like he's wearing a nappy and he's covered in blood and he's got like markings on him that have been cut into him, and that's just creepy all in itself. The Sacrament, Annabelle, again, creepy fuck doll, man. Creepy fucking doll, not creepy fuck doll. What? That's another podcast that I'm not doing. Bolts, Christie, Starry Eyes, The Veil, Cult of Chucky, The Endless, The Babysitter, Apostle, They Remain, The Lodge, The Perfection, Satanic Panic. Those are all the kind of movies that touch upon cults, whether it's a cult that's going on right now, it's an investigation of a cult, an investigation of a religious belief. Also shows you the damage that cults can do. It might romanticize them to the point where people think cult leader, I could do that. Seriously, stop romanticizing cults. Don't romanticize stuff that's got so much darkness behind them, with the manipulation, the control alone, and then you've got the abuse and everything else that goes along with it. Humans basically taking out other humans because of what someone's told you, basically. Yes, they've told you over and over again, and they provided you with support, love, and warmth. They can take that back as quickly as they give that out. Please remember that. Please stay safe. Please don't listen to what every fucking person says to you, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Please be aware. Please think about how not to basically be gullible. Don't be gullible. Wake up, notice the signs. Don't follow the signs because they're never good. You want to, if something gives you a gut feeling, always trust it. And for someone who's autistic, we don't always have a gut feeling. We always go in face value, and we can't even tell what you're expressing because we can't even show how we are expressing, to be fair. So please, if something doesn't feel right, please think about trusting it. It might be paranoia, or it might fucking just save your life. And on that note, where we have a reflection. Has Hollywood romanticised cults even in horror? Is that why it is still popular within the genre? Can social media be classed as a cult? I think I covered that already, because yes, it fucking can. What do you think is the definition of a cult now compared to what it was then? What is your favourite horror movie that you feel shows cults and religion in the best way and shows the true evil that people are capable of? Is it the work of the cult that is evil, or the humans running the cult? What would be a turning point away from cults and horror? What do you think would be, didn't they just go there? What do you think is that trigger? Would having a history or backstory into the cult and how it became as it was, and the people who create it, give a better understanding and the objective that they actually were trying to accomplish by starting a cult? Was it supposed to be a cult? That's the question. If you like content like this, remember to go check out the Confession of the Darkside social media platforms, which are Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Buzzsprout. Let us know what you think over our social medias, and let's get chatting about this topic and all the topics. Let's grow our community and spread how awesome the horror community actually is. If you like hearing about cults and you want to know more, especially about Scientology, like I said, you can go and hit Helicopter over on YouTube, and you can also get Andrew Gold has a few different podcasts. One with Mike Rinder, who again he was very big in the Scientology community. He has done lots of podcasts with Aaron Levin Smith. You can go on, you can literally type his name in. You get Andrew Gold, Grown Up in Scientology, and Life After a Cult, which again, Natalie's channel is really good. She talks about her personal experiences within Scientology, how she got herself out and her whole family out of that that cult. She talks about her personal experience. She talks to other people and their personal experiences and what they've been through and what they went through in Scientology, so you can go hit up for that. I don't really know anybody else who's in other cults, but Andrew Gold does do a few podcasts on other religions that are similar to Scientology, so you can go check him out there. He also has Heretics, again talking about subjects and topics that people don't want to touch at all. You can go check him out over on YouTube, and I think he's got it as a podcast, like an audio as well. So you can go check out those people. I will leave their links below. But if you want to get to know us as individuals, then for Darcy, which is me, is YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Kick. That's what I have. Lunar is YouTube and Twitch and Instagram. And Confessions from the Dark Side, if you want to reach out to us at any point via email, you can get us confessionsfromthedarkside@gmail.com, or for me, it's behindthemaskreviews@gmail.com, and the spelling is, if you are watching this on YouTube, and lunarxrising@gmail.com if you want to contact Lunar himself. That was Confessions from the Dark Side presents Religion and Horror, Episode 3, Cults. I am Darcy Darkness, and I will see you in the next part. Thank you for watching, thank you for sharing, thank you for adding, subscribing, and checking us out here at Confessions from the Dark Side. We really do appreciate it, and we will see you in the next one. Laters!